New website owners often turn to Google as a source of information, and it's not an unreasonable place to go. What we want to do, though, is talk to you about what Google is getting for questions, and we're going to answer some of those most frequently searched questions. Today, we're going to talk about how do I make my website space and see what the options are. This week, we are talking to Google.ca. We're a Canadian business, so we're going to look at Canadian searches, and our default most common search in Canada: how do I make my website searchable on Google? If you go back in our series, you'll see from the first few episodes, we talk about structural things. Making sure that your titles, your metadata, your images are tagged properly, and that you have good quality content. Making sure your page is searchable on Google depends on all of those. But more important is making sure that you have a robots.txt file. If you're using a word processor or a WordPress site or perhaps some other content manager, they probably already create that for you, and you can find it in your settings to make sure that it's enabled so that Google is able to crawl your site. We'll put some links in the description on how you can make sure that your robots text is in place, which will make your site searchable on Google. How do I make my website mobile phone friendly? This is something that we get asked a great deal here, and most web developers do. A mobile phone friendly site, also known as a responsive website, is a website that properly supports all display types. Specifically, anything from a small mobile phone, like a BlackBerry for example, all the way up to a tablet like the iPad, 10-inch iPad, or a 10-inch Android tablet. The way that that's achieved is by making sure the pages are built using tactics that are flexible. We tend to use CSS for that purpose. Cascading style sheets enable us to build a design that encapsulates content while at the same time allowing that content to stretch and flow to fit the site. Generally speaking, modern templates for content management tools, they're all responsive or mobile friendly. But more than phone friendly, sizing and scaling is phone friendly construction. That means limiting the amount of JavaScript or large images that will impact your load time. When you're sitting at home on your desktop and you've got your DSL or your cable modem, you can get content served to you very rapidly. On a mobile device, you're at the will and the whim of the mobile network, and that mobile network may not be as fast as you think. So having large images on your site or having a lot of JavaScript can actually slow down the performance of the site and hurt your performance on a phone or a mobile device. So in terms of how do I make it mobile phone friendly, that's simple. Make sure it's responsive and will scale itself and change menus as required to fit the size of the device you're being viewed on. And next, making sure that your content is not overbearing in terms of size. No giant images. Make sure your images are properly compressed. Make sure your CSS files are properly compressed. And again, these are tactics that are employed by most content management tools, but it's up to you to make sure that it's actually working. I'll answer the first one on this list last because it's the one I can provide the least real value to in this conversation, and that is, how do I make my website secure? Security is a big deal. I'll say that again. Security is a big deal. If you're operating a content management solution on your website, chances are you will be compromised. How your site handles that compromise is up to you. Make sure that you prevent write access to the file system on your web server. If you're hosting with a third party, like for example, there are supposed to be certain things in place. It's up to you to figure out whether those security measures are in place. The most important way, however, to make sure your website is secure is to keep it up to date. When vulnerabilities are found, system providers like WordPress release updates really rapidly. They've got millions of subscribers who are going to have problems if they don't. So pay attention to your site. Check it every week. Log into your admin panel. Regularly set up notifications if it's possible to let you know when you need to do updates, because those updates are what is going to save you from a potential security incursion, or worse, damage to the site or defacement, which can hurt your business, hurt your brand, and hurt your image. That's it for this week. If you like the content you get here on Mtek, please hit us up with a subscribe. If you want to be notified, the little bell down there, that will get you an email or a notification when we release new videos so that you're never late to the party. And if you enjoy any of this content, give us a like, throw us a thumbs up. It means a lot to us. Have a great week. We'll see you again soon. I'm Greg from Mtek.